The story of David Coleman Headley and Tahawwur Rana. The emails that we have spoken about all this while. Finally, it's out. Details of what really transpired soon after the Mumbai attacks. All of this and another big story that we are going to get to tonight is how multiple racist attacks have been reported in Ireland. Tonight, for the first time, the victims speak out. This and much more. This edition of This is the Exclusive, but up first, let me take you through the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Republic tracks exclusive details from the USA extradition order on Tahawwur Rana secret email trail accessed. At least 5 racist attacks on Indians in less than 2 weeks in Ireland. Indian embassy issues advisory. During an exclusive conversation with Republic Prime Minister Netanyahu backs India amid Trump's tariff war. Prime Minister Netanyahu reveals big Gaza plan, says Israel will intensify war in Gaza to finish Hamas. Gaza will be handed over to a governing body. Russian President Vladimir Putin will visit India, dates yet to be announced. Ladies and gentlemen, Tahawwur Rana and David Coleman Headley forged a sinister partnership that facilitated one of the deadliest terror attacks in modern history, the 26/11 Mumbai attacks of 2008. Rana, a former Pakistan Army doctor, and Headley, a Pakistani-American Lashkar-e-Taiba operative, collaborated to provide logistical and reconnaissance support for the attacks that killed 166 people. Their decades-long nexus rooted in extremist ideologies enabled a sophisticated conspiracy which has been exposed globally. But tonight, our focus is on an email trail. Shocking revelations that have been made in the US extradition order for Rana. In fact, let me first take you through the details of the extradition order and what is the email all about. Shocking revelations have emerged from the US extradition order of Tahawwur Rana. Court documents reveal a secret email account set up by Tahawwur Rana and Headley for direct, secure communication that was used to orchestrate their deadly plans. Among the targets, India's prestigious National Defence College, with Rana explicitly telling Headley it was on the hit list, aiming to kill more high-ranking Indian military officers than in any India-Pakistan war. And right here is the part that the court stressed on, that their aim was to target the NDC, National Defence College, to unleash more casualties than any war that India has fought against Pakistan. And a special email account was actually set up to exchange the intel information while planning this attack. Let me now take you through the details of Rana's and Headley's secret email. In fact, this finds a mention in the court order, and Rana exactly told Headley that a secret communication to be done. I'm going to now take you through the details of this extradition order on your screens right now. We're going to take you through the highlighted portions of the order, which categorically makes a mention of why the email was basically created and what was the purpose for it. And this is what has been documented in the extradition order with regards to how exactly all of it was planned. Page number 14 of the extradition order basically makes a mention of how this was actually created and what they essentially wanted. And I'm quoting from the order that has now been accessed. This is what they say. In September 7, 2009 conversation, Rana told Headley that the same Lashkar terrorists who had been killed in the Mumbai attack should be given Nishane-e-Haider. I'm going to come to that in a short while from now. Before that, this is what they had essentially discussed. 7th of September 2009 conversation, Headley and Rana discussed targeting the NDC. Rana told Headley that he was already aware that the NDC was a target, and they talked about how such an attack would kill more high-ranking Indian military officials than previous wars between India and Pakistan. Moreover, Rana had set up an email account for Headley so that Headley could communicate securely with Rana, and Headley transferred a list of Chabad houses in India, including the ones he was supposed to conduct surveillance on, into the email account for security purposes. Now, let me tell you what happens now. Headley, the LAT's scout, transferred a list of Chabad houses across India Jewish cultural centers at Delhi, Goa and Pushkar to Rana via this email account, marking them for potential attacks. What's even more alarming is that Rana was in direct contact with Headley's Pakistan-based handlers, including Lashkar-e-Taiba operatives and ISI-linked figures like Major Iqbal, coordinating logistics and reconnaissance. Now, we bring you these exclusive details straight from the US extradition order, which has now been accessed by Republic TV. In fact, we are going to first put out the graphics again, where we are going to take you through each of the details of it. One, how exactly this list was actually given, and secondly, why exactly was this secret email account created. Now, Rana basically used all of this to communicate with him. Not just that, he also used the same very account to actually communicate with Headley's contacts who were based in Pakistan. They were essentially the co-conspirators of the 26/11 attack, and Rana was directly in touch with the co-conspirators in Pakistan. Now, that's the secret email that we have essentially accessed right now. We're going to take you through some more details of it. And in a short while from now, I'm also going to put out another set of details that we have got with regards to what was Headley's recommendation for the terrorists who were involved in the 26/11 attack, and what is it that they had to tell Rana. In fact, Headley had recommendations, and those recommendations I'm going to put out in a short while from now. First, to my colleague Shabu, who is joining us on this broadcast. Shabu, the US extradition order makes a mention of a secret email account that was basically created by Tahawwur Rana, and this was used to communicate with David Coleman Headley as well as the co-conspirators in Pakistan. Walk us through the details that you have.
Well, with the details, we can understand that Rana was not just helping in this case. Rana was actively, very deeply involved in the planning of the entire case, because apart from the details that were shared through this email, there were also allegations that he helped opening a fake business set up so that Headley could come and travel to India, could contact without raising any kind of suspicion. He was in contact with a lot of Pakistani-based terror handlers as well, and was preparing a very safe bed for Headley, email-wise, even for him to travel. So this gives us a very strong point also for India to strengthen the point of UAPA and IPC against him. And this shows that how deeply he was involved in the planning, and was not just a helping hand or helping aid for Headley. Back to you.
Shambhavi, in fact, we have also got another breaking news with regards to what is it that David Coleman Headley had to tell Tahawwur Rana in those email conversations. In fact, a recommendation was actually made to award those who participated or those who were involved in the 26/11 attacks, the 9 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists. And this is what David Coleman Headley had to tell Tahawwur Rana with regards to the fact that Pakistan's highest military honor, that is Nishane-e-Haider, to be given to the 9 terrorists who were involved in the 26/11 attacks. We're going to put that out in a short while from now. While I'm coming back to you, Shabu, with regards to the details coming in as to why this is very significant, because this was not out in the public domain. The very fact that David Coleman Headley and Tahawwur Rana were basically exchanging certain documents and certain coordinates through a secret email account that was actually created. And that secret email account was largely used for plotting the 26/11 attacks.
Well, definitely, because this puts in perspective, because still now, even when the courts were prosecuting or the trial was going on in relation to Rana, the court was actually looking at Rana with the sections as well as a helping hand in this entire conspiracy, how he was just aiding Headley into making a safe way through India, and making sure that he does not raise any suspicion when they were actually looking after all the high-profile locations like Taj and Oberoi. And through that email, we have also got to know that several places in Delhi, Goa, Pushkar were pointed out as future terror targets. So this entire revelation that the public is bringing to you makes this perspective very, very clear that Tahawwur Rana, along with David Headley, Tahawwur Rana had a very active role in this entire case. And even today, there was a hearing about Tahawwur Rana contacting his family, because he is now seeking that he wants to engage a private counsel for his case. He was still now represented by a legal aid counsel, and he has said that now he wants to appoint a private counsel, and the court today has allowed him to contact his family in order to make this arrangement. So this is a very big revelation in pointing out how active of a role he had in this entire conspiracy. Back to you.
Well, just a quick recap before we move on to the other big story, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight on This Is Exclusive, we've put out details of a secret email conversation that took place between the 26/11 conspirators, that is David Coleman Headley and Tahawwur Rana. The two emails that have been accessed by Republic TV clearly goes on to indicate that this was basically done with a direct intervention of the co-conspirators in Pakistan. In fact, the extradition order makes it very clear that a meeting took place in Dubai, and not just that. The co-conspirators who were from Pakistan, those who have been linked to Tahawwur Rana, traveled to Dubai, and thereafter this email account was basically created so that secret communication can take place between Tahawwur Rana and the co-conspirators who were based out of Pakistan, and a direct communication to take place. Ladies and gentlemen, what's happening in Ireland demands our and the government's immediate intervention. A wave of brutal, racially motivated attacks targeting Indian nationals and those of Indian origin has sent shockwaves through Ireland. From Dublin to Waterford, Indian professionals, students and even children have faced unprovoked assaults by teenage gangs, often accompanied by racial slurs. Imagine the ordeal you face as a parent of a 6-year-old when your child comes home traumatized, assaulted, her hair pulled, and she being subjected to racist abuses. And why? Because she is Indian. This is the state of affairs for the Indian diaspora in Ireland, and tonight the cases we bring you may be only some, while many others go completely unreported. Ladies and gentlemen, 19th of July, a 40-year-old Indian man assaulted and stabbed in the face in Dublin. He happens to be a sous chef, and that's Lakman Das, who's going to join us in a short while from now. He was attacked by 10 teens based on false accusations that were leveled against him. On 27th of July, a 32-year-old data scientist was attacked by 6 teenagers in Dublin. Victim Santosh Yadav suffered a fractured cheekbone. In fact, it turns out that on 4th of August, an Indian origin cab driver was hit with a bottle by 2 men, once again in Dublin. And this is what he was told: "Go back to your country," slogans that were hurled at victim Lakveer Singh. These are some of the incidents that have taken place. 4th of August, a 6-year-old Indian origin girl verbally and physically was assaulted. Joining us tonight is Lakman Das, who's joining us from Dublin. लक्ष्मण जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद रिपब्लिक टीवी से बात करने के लिए. आपसे जानना चाहूँगा कि पिछले कई दिनों से लगातार भारतीयों के ऊपर अटैक हो रहे हैं. आपके ऊपर भी हुआ। आपकी कुछ तस्वीरें हमारे पास हैं, हम उस तस्वीरों को भी चलाना चाहेंगे। लक्ष्मण जी, सबसे पहले आपसे जानना चाहूँगा, ये हुआ कैसे?
मैं सुबह 4:15 बजे घर से निकाला। 11 किलोमीटर जाना है मेरे को ड्यूटी। मैं इलेक्ट्रिक बाइक से जाता हूँ, एवरीडे जाता हूँ। मैं यहाँ पर 21 साल से रह रहा हूँ। तो होटल पे जा रहा मैं ड्यूटी। उस टाइम थ्री पीपल तीन जना रास्ता में वो खड़ा था। तो उसके बाद उन्होंने क्या किया, रुकने के लिए बोला। रुका तो मेरा हैंडल पकड़ लिया। हैंडल पकड़ के फिर उन्होंने मेरे को पार्स वगैरह खींचने लगा। तो फिर मेरे को उस टाइम ही मारा। हेलमेट पड़ा था तो बच गया, अदरवाइज मेरे इधर सारे मारा बहुत। ये देखो मेरे आंखें हैं। तो सारे शरीर पे बहुत ही आघात किया। फिर मेरा साइकिल, मेरा पैसा था 2600 यूरो। फिर मेरा पार्ट्स, मेरा एटीएम कार्ड, मेरा सारे पासपोर्ट कार्ड, 2 मोबाइल, मेरा साइकिल भी लेके चला गया। फिर मैंने उनको अटैक किया था, भागा, देखा कोई नहीं है। फिर वहां से 2.5 किलोमीटर दूर मेरा होटल है। मैं वहां पर गया फिर पैदल जाके। फिर मैंने उनको बोला ऐसे सिचुएशन। उन्होंने तुरंत एम्बुलेंस बुलाया। एम्बुलेंस आ गया, गार्दा आया नहीं। गार्दा यहाँ पर पुलिस को बोलता है। तो उसके बाद उन्होंने क्या किया, मेरे को हॉस्पिटल ले आया। हॉस्पिटल ले आने के बाद तो 2 2.5 3 घंटा बाद गार्ड आया, पुलिस आया। पुलिस आने के बाद उन्होंने सुना क्या बात है, क्या हुआ, लेकिन अभी तक कोई एक्शन लिया नहीं। तो आप लोग कुछ कीजिए प्लीज। आप
जी,
लोग अगर कुछ कीजिए, अदरवाइज यहाँ पर बहुत ही मुश्किल है। हमारा भारती के पास सबके ऐसे अटैक हो रहा है। अभी तक छह
लक्ष्मण जी, मैं
सात को
आपसे
अटैक
यही
किया।
जानना चाहूँगा, क्योंकि वहाँ के पुलिस को कई कंप्लेंट्स गए हैं। वहाँ के दूतावास ने ये भी एक एडवाइजरी जारी की है, जहाँ वो कह रहे हैं कि भारतीय जो वहाँ पर है उन्हें चौकन्ना रहना चाहिए। आपसे जानना चाहूँगा कि जब आपने कंप्लेंट दर्ज की तो पुलिस का क्या कहना था? क्या आपको कोई सहायता मिला?
उन्होंने कुछ सहायता नहीं दिया। कह रहा हमने तो तुम्हारा जहां पर हुआ वहां के तो हमने नहीं है, हम आया हॉस्पिटल की इस तरफ से। तो उन्होंने मेरे को बोला जो ठीक है, मैं रिपोर्ट लिया, रिपोर्ट लेके उनको दूंगा। तो मैंने बोला मेरा सामान मिलेगा क्या? कह रहा मैं देखता हूँ, 1 2 दिन टाइम लगेगा। मतलब 1 2 दिन क्यों टाइम लगेगा, मेरा फोन अभी भी चालू है, आप फोन कीजिए। तो इनको बोला मैंने। तो उन्होंने बोला कि जे अभी हमारे हाथ में कुछ नहीं, हम उनको सौंप दिया, उन लोग जो करेगा उन लोग करेगा। तो अभी तक मेरे पास कोई मैसेज नहीं आया, कुछ नहीं आया। मेरा तो मोबाइल भी नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है। मैं अभी अपना रास्ता में चलने में भी बहुत डर रहा हूँ। मैं अभी मेरा फ्रेंड के घर पे ले आया मेरे को, जे नहीं तुम इधर रहो। मेरा फैमिली भी यहाँ पर नहीं है, इंडिया गया।
लक्ष्मण जी, आप कह रहे हैं कि आपको कोई सहायता नहीं मिला। तो और एक सवाल करना चाहूँगा, जब आप दूतावास से में आपने बात की होगी, उन्होंने क्या क्या कहा? क्योंकि लगातार ऐसे अटैक हो रहे हैं, सिर्फ अकेले आप नहीं, कई सारे दूसरे भारतीय हैं जिन पर ये अटैक्स हुए हैं। और क्या कारण कहा जा रहा है, और ऐसे लगातार क्यों हो रहा है?
उन्होंने दूतावास से आया, आके मेरा को जस्ट डिटेल लेके गया। उसके बाद और कुछ नहीं। रात को है किसी डॉक्टर को भेजा था, वो कैसे है पूछने के
जी,
लिए,
इसके
कैसे है।
इसके पीछे कारण क्या है? लगातार आप पर, आपके सहयोगी पर बाकी भारतीय, उनके ऊपर भी लगातार अटैक हो रहे हैं। इसके पीछे कारण क्या है?
हम मेहनत कर रहा हूँ, हम काम कर रहा हूँ यहाँ पर, हम घर खरीद रहा हूँ, इसीलिए इनको शायद मेरा ब्राउन कलर से थोड़ा से उनको वो है। क्योंकि जितना हुआ सारे ब्राउन का ही हुआ।
आप कह रहे हैं
जितना
जितने भी।
अटैक हुआ सारे ब्राउन का ही हुआ।
और जब आप पुलिस को ये कहते हैं तो उनका क्या कहना है? क्या आपको एंटरटेन नहीं करते? क्या आपके कंप्लेंट को दर्ज नहीं किया जा रहा है वहां पर? और क्या आप वहां के पॉलिटिशियंस या पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज या किसी से आपने बात करने की कोशिश की? क्योंकि वहां पे कई भारतीय आयरलैंड में इस वक्त है और वो लगातार हमसे संपर्क करना चाह रहे हैं, क्योंकि ये देखा जा रहा है कि कोई किसी को भी मदद नहीं मिल रहा। इसीलिए हम चाह रहे हैं कि आपकी आवाज सब पर पहुंचे और इसको आगे
बिल्कुल
बढ़ाया
सही
जाए।
बात है। बिल्कुल सही बात है, आपने जो बोला बिल्कुल सही बात है। कोई हेल्प नहीं कर रहा है यहाँ पर। कि मेरा एक भाई है यहाँ पर, उन्होंने, वो भाभी ने भी जाके मिनिस्टर से बात किया। बात करने का बाद भी कोई वो नहीं निकला, कुछ नहीं किया उन्होंने। गार्दा भी कुछ नहीं कर रहा। उन्होंने लिख के ले गया। अभी 2 दिन हो गया। मेरा बुरा हाल है, मैं बाहर नहीं जा सकता हूँ क्योंकि मेरे को डर लग रहा अभी। मेरा घर पे कोई नहीं है, मेरा घर लॉक करा हुआ है। अभी मेरा दोस्त के घर पे मैं आके रह रहा हूँ।
एक आखिरी
तो
सवाल
आप
करना
लोग
चाहूंगा लक्ष्मण जी, क्योंकि
हाँ जी,
आप हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं इस वक्त और कई लोग हमें देखते हैं। आप इस वक्त क्या कहना चाहेंगे सरकार को और साथ ही साथ आयरलैंड के उन अथॉरिटीज को जो आपकी कोई मदद नहीं करना चाह रहे?
इंडियन गवर्नमेंट, आयरिश गवर्नमेंट सारे अगर जोर लगाएगा तो सब ठीक हो जाएगा। मैं भी यहाँ पर 21 साल से रह रहा हूँ, लेकिन पहले इतना नहीं होता था, आजकल इतना बढ़ गया ये चीज। लेकिन हमारा एम्बासी वाला भी थोड़ा से हेल्प करेगा तो ये थोड़ा से जान आएगा, अदरवाइज नहीं आएगा।
आप कह रहे क्योंकि ये लगातार ये ऐसे कई सारे इंसिडेंट्स हुए हैं, क्या आप लोग सब मिलकर कोई जॉइंट कंप्लेंट फाइल कर रहे हैं इस वक्त?
कर चुका हूँ, सब कर चुका हूँ। इससे पहले भी एक को नांगा करके मारा उन्होंने, उस टाइम भी हम लोगों ने क्या किया, सारे इकट्ठा हुआ, कुछ नहीं सोल्यूशन हो आया, कुछ सोल्यूशन नहीं आया।
और आप कह रहे हैं कि आप अपने घर भी नहीं जा पा रहे, आप अपने घर
मैं
पे
घर
नहीं
पे
जा
नहीं
रहे,
जा
आप
पा रहा हूँ,
अपने
मेरे को
दोस्त
डर
के
लग
घर
रहा
पे
है।
रह रहे?
हाँ जी,
मेरे को कुछ भी हो सकता है ना,
मेरे को कुछ भी हो सकता है।
लक्ष्मण जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद रिपब्लिक टीवी से बात करने के लिए। नाउ दिस इज अ मैटर व्हिच needs to be escalated. In fact, it turns out that the Indian embassy in Ireland has now issued an advisory saying that they are asking all Indian citizens to be careful, to be cautious. Thank you very much, Lakman Das, Indian origin chef based out of Dublin, who was attacked recently. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a super exclusive coming in from the Israeli Prime Minister himself. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has spoken to Republic's senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor on how Israel has helped India during Operation Sindoor. And the well-established mechanisms have worked really well during Operation Sindoor. In fact, Israel's help was well documented, but this comes in from the Prime Minister himself, who says that they are seeking enhanced defense partnership with India. There was a briefing that took place. In fact, senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor directly spoke to the Prime Minister, seeking his views on various matters. In fact, the Prime Minister has also spoken about the tariff war, the ongoing tariff war, where the Prime Minister has essentially indicated that India and the United States of America are solid partners and they have much in common, and perhaps they would be able to find a solution in the coming few days. We'll go across to Abhishek Kapoor, our senior executive editor, who's going to join us in a short while from now, getting us more details from Jerusalem. In fact, this meeting with the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu took place a short while back, where he's spoken on various issues. Now, some key takeaways of that meeting that senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor had with the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. First, with regards to Israel's participation during Operation Sindoor. This is what the Prime Minister had to say, that well-established mechanisms that has really helped in the Operation Sindoor, and the fact that it is time to enhance the defense partnership with India. That's first news break coming in. The second news break is with regards to what next in Gaza. The Prime Minister is abundantly clear on this particular issue, saying that there is no question of annexing Gaza, but he also makes it very clear that he's not handing it over to Hamas, or for that matter, the Palestinian Authority. In fact, he says that an international governing body should actually look into this matter, ensuring that Israel is safe and the war essentially would continue. Now, that's a global headline that has been given by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, speaking to senior executive editor of Republic TV, Abhishek Kapoor, with regards to the Gaza plan that has now been cleared. Let's also take you through the other important issue, that is with regards to the tariff war that has broken out between India and United States of America. In fact, it turns out President Trump's tantrums, which has been perhaps much criticized by countries across the globe, but now the Prime Minister himself here has taken a strong position, saying that India is going to act on its national interest. Now, this is something that has been welcomed by Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying that India and United States of America are solid partners and they have much in common. And perhaps that is the reason why they would be able to find a solution very soon. Now, this comes at a time that United States of America's extremely close ally, that happens to be Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is now making this particular comment with regards to how exactly would it go forward. First, bringing in this exclusive is our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor, who is joining us from Jerusalem. Abhishek, you've had a long chat with the Prime Minister. First to you with regards to, there has been much that has been spoken about the pressure that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is undergoing right now as far as internal politics is concerned. What was the body language like of the Prime Minister? How confident is he that he'll be able to pull this through?
He was very supremely confident, Shawan. We spent about 45 minutes with him. And Bibi Netanyahu, as he's called here, King Bibi, as he's called by his supporters, he believes that they have to do a quick job of finishing off whatever remains of Hamas, and then they are good to go. Essentially, the Israeli government under Netanyahu believes that they have a job to do, which is to finish off all the military capacity that's there with Hamas, and then to hand over the administration of Gaza. In fact, he used the opportunity of his interaction with the team of Indian journalists to make an international headline. He said, we are not in the business of annexing Gaza. We are not in the business of occupying Gaza. We are, in fact, going to be just making sure that Hamas is not controlling the levers of power there. And once that's done, we get the hostages back, and then we can give the administration back to whosoever the international community come together and decide. It just cannot be Hamas, and it cannot be, of course, a Palestinian Authority. Apart from that, anyone, the Gazans, if they, and he gave an impression that there is, in fact, a strong resentment against Hamas amongst the people of Gaza, and then maybe they might take over. So he was very confident, supremely confident, to give give an answer to your question. And he believes that they might not take too much of time. So I think he was allaying those Western fears that this war might continue indefinitely. He said that we are going to do a quick job of it. In fact, it can end tomorrow if Hamas so wants, which is by completely demilitarizing themselves and giving up all arms and handing over hostages. Peace has to happen on Israeli terms, not on the terms of Hamas. That's the bottom line.
Well, thank you very much, Abhishek, for getting us the latest details. Abhishek's detailed reports will be put out in the coming few days. In fact, he's gone through various aspects and how exactly has Israel really responded. That's all that we could pack in this edition of This Is Exclusive. Coming up, trending with my colleague Rakshita.
Amity is proud to announce the commencement of its 12th university in India, Amity University, Hyderabad. At the prime location of AeroCity Hyderabad Airport, has a strong focus on high-end research with brilliant students and distinguished faculty who share our mission to change the world together. To apply for this year's session, visit amity.edu/Hyderabad.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल। ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े। क्या निराला MDH मसाला। भारत की अपनी दुकान इंडिया सोना, अपने देश का सामान इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना। प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला।
Sarah, this is your space, play it your way.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
From your smartphones to your smart televisions, the trending stories are breaking the internet. Trump's tariff war has been making the headlines and Prime Minister Modi has roared back. India has said, bring it on. In fact, it has been made very, very clear by New Delhi by the statement, India does not submit to its bullies. We are also keeping our focus on the chess sensation Divya Deshmukh. Stay tuned for the exclusive conversation with her.